To be honored is to be respected by your peers. The world loves to tell us that all men are equal, all of our opinions are equal, even if we don't even know much about the topic, our opinion is equal to somebody who's an expert on the topic. We have no idea what we're talking about, but they'll still tell us that our opinion's equal to everybody else's. And it's a stupid thing to believe in. As much as you want to believe it, whenever you latch onto that mindset, it makes you be okay with being just mediocre with whatever you're doing and not want to learn more, not want to be better at things. But the truth is, and you know this to be true, if you throw a bunch of men in a room or give them a job to do, they're going to pretty quickly establish a hierarchy of who's doing what, who's the most respected, and who they honor the most in the group. And in male groups like that, what it comes down to is who does more is worth more. Whoever has the most mastery and skills, the most strength, the most courage, those people are going to be higher up in the hierarchy and they're going to have the most say with whatever's going on. I have a lot of different groups of friends, and my spot in the hierarchy varies with each group. Like I might be at the very top in some, I might be near the middle in some, but I'm not really at the bottom. I used to be at the bottom all the time with my groups because it's just like how little I worked on myself, how little skills I had, the way I presented myself, the way I carried myself. Those things put you near the bottom, and that's how I was with my main original group, like all my best friends. Back in high school is whenever I met most of them, or like middle school around then, and I was always near the bottom. Over time, I think I'm pretty close to the top now. It happened over time because the things that I've done in my life and the things that I've done to change my character and the mastery that I've gotten in certain skills, getting stronger, things like that. Now, when you're near the bottom, it sucks. And we all know that. Even if you're the type of guy who's always been at the top, you would know it sucks to be at the bottom. You wouldn't want to be at the bottom. So the way you climb up is by figuring out what you need to work on, develop yourself, get these new skills, become a master at certain things, maybe learn how to protect yourself, learn how to fight, learn how to get stronger, look better, get better with women. There's so many different things that men will give you honor for and respect for. Like if you're walking around and you see a dude who's clearly good with women, you're going to respect them more because that's something that men value. Men value women in their life. So if there's a guy who's good with girls, you're most likely going to value them more or give them more honor and respect, at least if you're younger. As you get older, I feel like you kind of grow out of that. But that's just one example. Somebody who's like huge, like 6'5", just jacked, off rip, you're going to reflexively give him honor because you're scared of that man. And I'm going to get more into that later. But basically the way you climb these hierarchies is by getting better at certain things and doing more things. That way you get more experience. To honor a man is to acknowledge his accomplishments and recognize that he has a higher status in the group now. Like for me, in the example I was given earlier, with my original group, whenever I was near the bottom, I would speak up for myself or my friends, but if it was like some random person, I wouldn't speak up for myself. I was very non-confrontational, and now I'm the complete opposite. And that developed through my friends. And that's how you show respect and honor to your friends is by imitating them or going to them for guidance. And that's what I did. I figured out that's what I need to be working on, or at least one of the things at the time. And I got better at that, and now it's something I excel in. I love confrontation. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's like fun to me now. And that's probably not a good thing, but I do. And there's more things to it. Like I was really bad socially. I improved there. I was really tiny. I was 120 pounds. I gained a bunch of weight. I got a lot stronger, and I have like a fit body now. I look good. Though a bunch of accumulation of things. Like that's just three things, but there was a bunch of other things, and all of that has caused me to rise in that group. And on top of that, all the other groups that I ended up joining or making or becoming a part of, whatever it was, I had a higher baseline because I already had those things, if that makes sense. Like you just get more honor naturally because you already have those skills. Now what honor actually is changes over time. It changes with, the passing years, whatever. And I'm sure that also varies by each individual person and groups. But for men, there's certain things that they can't help but to just reflexively give honor to. And it all kind of boils down to strength, courage, and mastery, like I mentioned earlier. And strength is just kind of like, if you look at somebody and he's intimidating, like you just feel like he'd beat your ass, you're most likely going to respect him more for that reason. Like if I see some dude and I'm like, okay, he would clearly kick my ass, I'm not going to mess with him. That's me giving him honor. That's me like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a pretty self-explanatory one. As you're going to respect him more because you don't want him to, beat your ass. That's for, that's not something everybody can have, but that's what the other two are for. But with that, like you could learn how to defend yourself. You could start doing some kind of martial art, boxing, whatever your thing would be. You could start getting stronger. Things like that would make you come off more likely that you're like that person. And for courage, that's another one that's kind of self-explanatory. That's just being willing to do things despite being afraid. Like if you see some dude who's not scared of anything, he's always constantly facing his fears, doing things. Maybe you're somebody who's scared to approach a woman, but he's always talking to random girls he doesn't know, or even just people. He's just talking to people he doesn't know, just making new friends all the time. And then he's like he'll go skydiving because he's not scared of skydiving. Like he's not scared of losing his life, or he just finds excitement in it. Like things like that. Like somebody who's just courageous, not scared to face their fears. That demands respect. And that's not to say somebody who's just reckless and just doesn't care about things. He just does shit because he just doesn't care. That's not courage. That's just being reckless. So there's like a fine line there. But when somebody's courageous, you can't help but respect them, or at least most people. You know, maybe you don't care. I don't know, but most people can't help but respect somebody who's courageous because they're gonna get further in life. They're gonna be inspiring those around them too. So it's a high honor to hold whenever you're somebody who's courageous. And then mastery kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, how I got better at the things that I was lacking in. That's developing mastery in certain things. That's something that shows that you're somebody who likes to work on yourself. You try to improve, and you can help those around you also because maybe they're lacking in this area. You being good in that area helps them rise up because it's like, okay, I lack there, so I can use him to help me. In that sense, they're going to honor you because of that. And like I said earlier, if somebody's lacking in a certain area, you can imitate them or go to them for guidance. So when somebody's a master in a certain subject, you can go to them, and that shows that you're honoring them by asking them for help. Like maybe your friend is really good at just meeting people, talking to people, improving his network. That's somebody you can go to and imitate him, imitate what he's doing, or go to him for guidance. Like, how did you get over this fear? How did you start doing this? And that's showing your respect and honor for this guy, and that's going to make his position in the hierarchy higher. Now, all of these things are kind of boiled into a group. Like, it's not just random people, but it's like if in your group of friends, you're the men you surround yourself with. That's what all this kind of stuff is. But reflexive honor is like just the people you'll see around you just throughout your day. Reflexive honor is basically kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Like, if you see a guy and you know he'd like beat you up, you're most likely gonna leave him alone because you're fearing harm from him. And if men give way to you because they're scared of you, you're gonna have a certain status among men. That's just how it is. Like, if you see somebody like that, it's not just you thinking that. It's just like a certain thing they give off, and that's their honor. Like, people are worried for that reason, so they're giving him a certain status out of fear. And that's reflexive honor. But the other form of honor is never you're good at being a man. And that's not to say you're a good man, but you're good at being a man. Being good at being a man is probably different for everybody, I'm sure. Like, my definition of it and your definition of it are probably completely different. But for a lot of people, there's certain things that, like having a good handshake, that's like something a good man would have. Being able to change a tire, being able to provide for other people, being able to provide for yourself and have a certain amount of self-reliance. Like, you don't need somebody else to help you. Things like that are what make you good at being a man. There's like some basic ones. Like, you might have different ones, I might have different ones, but there's like certain things like that that you deem a man should be able to do, and that's being good at being a man. People like that are gonna just accrue a natural amount of honor for people around them. Like, it's if you see them and you're like, oh, he's a manly ass dude. Like, you're gonna naturally respect and honor that dude more just because you're a man. So that masculinity is inspiring to you. It's something that you might even want. So whenever you see that, you're naturally gonna give him some honor. Now, on top of that, I will say, honor does depend on like the honor group. So I mentioned how earlier it's more based on the men around you, the people who are in your circle. So if you're like some gamer kid, like you're like 15, all you do is play games all day, your little group on Discord that you play games with, the one who's the best, your group might give him the most honor because he's so good at the game. But that's not like true honor because it's like a very small subsegment, but it is. And that little group, he's probably near the top of the hierarchy just because he's so good at the game. And that boils down to a sense of shared identity. Whenever you're in that group with your friends, like in that version, a shared identity for all of them is that they're all gamers. So in your group, maybe like for me, a lot of my friends are like just super big trolls. Like, they love messing with people, they love giving people a hard time, making fun of people. So like back in high school, I mentioned this before in old videos, but we used to bully the shit out of each other. Like, it was so bad. I'm sure we've scarred certain people for life because we would just go so hard on each other. But even to like just people on the outside, like, we would just troll a lot. So my friends who were really good at it, they had like a natural knack of just trolling people and just good at insulting people. They were near the top of the hierarchy because they were just so good at it, and it was so funny to us. Like, it's like everybody kind of sought after that quality because, I don't know, we were in high school, and it's still part of our group, but not to the extent that it was back then. But that was a shared sense of identity. We were all into messing with other people, and that was part of it. That was part of our identity. And now it could be, I have groups at the gym. We all are part of our identity is that we all like to work out, weightlift. So there's things like that. Like, whatever your group's shared identity is, that's going to be a key part in what makes up the honor and the hierarchy for your group. And the main way you can know if you honor somebody is by knowing if you care what they think about you. If you care what they think about you, then you honor them. Whether you want to or not, you honor them because you care about what they think. It's a sign of respect. Same with vice versa. If you don't care what they think, you're kind of disrespecting them. So that's kind of what it boils down to. I'll probably make a video about dishonor too, but that's what honor among men boils down to and how you can raise up in your group's hierarchy if you're interested in that. But besides that, got any value from this video? Appreciate you subscribe, but yeah, see you in the next one.